you got rid of some storylines before you became a mother. You did that through coaching. Were you getting coaching for that, or were you getting coaching for something else and that work happened?
Um, I feel like maybe I'll start from the beginning.
Mhm.
Maybe that would be a better kind of give you some connecting of the dots. So I was a really overweight child. There were people in my family that were also at a very young age. I was well aware of how much I disliked my body because I was called fat, ugly, not worth it at 5 years old. I can remember exactly when. Kids are mean, so that like validated what this particular person was saying. And I knew at a very young age, like at 7, I was on my first diet. I just knew at a
Wow.
very young age that I was aware of how much I didn't like my body and how I needed to change it so people would like me.
Mhm.
So that happened, right? But I always was athletic. I've been playing sports since I was out of the womb. I was good at softball, but I had to be better, so I just practiced and practiced. I was like at 3 different teams. I made all legal county, like
Oh,
in
wow.
11th grade. I was definitely going on like to be scouted and all these other things, right? So that was like my plan,
Mhm.
right? And then a lot of stuff happened. I started losing weight and I picked up my first dumbbell at 15. I went to the gym. This guy named Ed Darcy. He is in Rocky Point still. I owe him so much because he really fosters that strength to have at a young age and how you can bring that later on in life.
Mhm.
I didn't receive what he was saying at first because I was on a mission to prove people wrong. And I was like, I'm going to lose this weight. I don't care how I do it, but I'm going to lose it and I'm going to show you.
Mhm.
I prayed to God every single night, just make me thin, just make me thin, make me skinny, all these things.
Yeah.
But sometimes when you pray for something, it doesn't always come out the way that you're thinking of it coming.
Facts. Absolutely. God's picture is different from ours.
Yes. So in the midst of that, I developed bulimia and
Um,
I lost my menstrual cycle at 15. And my parents are like, you can't go to the gym anymore. I said, fine, I won't eat. And that's
that's a response.
it was a response, and it was an 8 to 10 year battle with anorexia.
Wow. Okay.
It
Yeah.
was cold, dark, um, miserable, painful. I don't know if you have ever starved. It is not good. It's painful. It's mentally exhausting. Um, and I was hospitalized 3 times. The last time I was 78 pounds at 19. My heart rate was 22 beats a minute,
Wow.
and it's clinically dead. And I was at this crossroad where they were putting a tube down my nose to feed me. And if for someone with anorexia, it's all about control, right? Um, I felt like I was stripped. I lost everything. I was alone. And I just prayed to God for another chance. I was just like praying, 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 when you're in that depths of despair. And it was the light, I'm not saying it happened overnight, but he gave me another chance. But I made a pact with him that in this new chance, I have to help other people become strong too.
That's
And
beautiful. Yeah.
so
Because
it's a
when we
while.
help others is how we're
Yes,
really helping ourselves.
right. And it's serving like in his name. And
Absolutely.
I was a runner. I ran away from a lot of things. I thought I could do it on my own. I thought if I made myself so physically strong that no one can hurt me. There was a lot of ways that I came off like I had my stuff together, but I didn't, and I struggled for a really, really long time. And I met my husband at 34, slew of abusive men relationships with men. Met my husband, who was like the most stable person, but not a stable lifestyle, right?
Right?
Um, and he was like normal, I guess you can say. I don't know. Like I don't know if normal is the right word, but he was just steady.
Mhm.
He's 5 years younger than me, and he's very versed beyond his years. He's very educated and super intelligent, and just was. I needed that to like come bring me back down.
Mhm.
He's very much like this, and I'm just like,
Right. He's the stabilizer, as you said. He
yeah, he was my
stabilizes the ups
calm.
and downs. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah, yeah, yeah.
for sure.
So I know why we are together, but he's also very type A too. So it's kind of, there's a lot of sometimes some interesting,
A little
uh,
butting heads, a little
a
bit.
little butting heads, but he's like real calm about it. And I'm just like, he's just like, why are you the way you are? Like,
Yelling is not going to change the conversation. The
oh,
words will be the same. You can say them.
yeah, exactly, exactly. So as I kept like, coming up and down this mountain, so to speak, I just was like, I got pregnant. I almost we thought we were gonna lose him. He was born with pneumonia. We had no idea. And we went through two different NICUs to figure out what was going on. The first NICU was like, hey, we can't help him anymore. Like that was the hardest part of my whole entire life.
That is scary. A,
It was super scary.
a hospital says you can't help an infant.
I lost it. Like I like hit rock bottom there. Like I couldn't talk to people. Um, it's like emotional still talking about it, but like I couldn't process what was going on. I thought it was my fault. He was a month early. I was like, I took care of myself. I ate well. I did all these things. Like I don't understand. Like why is this happening to me? And he was like the steady throughout. Like he talked to people. He was very matter of fact, and I was just done. And when they told us that they couldn't help us anymore, that was the only time I saw him waver. And then I was like, oof, that's not good.
Right. Yeah. Because he was
But
your
how much
rock.
pressure? Yeah,
Yeah.
but how much pressure is that I put on him? You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Hmm.
Because like he couldn't have feelings that I mean, we have the anointing of the priest coming. We had so many people praying over him every single day. We got to then they come in with like a stack of papers like this big and they hand it to you. You have to sign this. I go, I don't even know what I'm signing right now. They're like, well, you have to go in. He's going in the ambulance and he has to be in a box with like a bunch of tubes because he couldn't breathe. And you have to sign that if we get in a car accident, that you're not suing us for liability of your child. I go, am I being punked right now? Is Ashton Kutcher coming out? Because this is just it was surreal,
Right.
right? And Anthony's like, just sign it. I'm like, no, I want to go. And they're like, you can't come into the ambulance with us. Like, we just have to meet us up there. And that was like the hardest like hour away. And we got there, and the doctor was like, oh, yeah, he has pneumonia. He'll grow out of it. No big deal. I'm like, what? He's like, we see this all the time. He has pneumonia. So boys actually develop 2 weeks later in gestation than girls do.
Okay.
Their lungs also develop last.
Hmm.
So they think somehow I contracted some kind of bacteria, which is like they call it strep B positive. And it's fine for us to be in our reproductive system and our digestive tract, but it's a host for like little babies. And then they get pneumonia.
Hmm.
So that's what happened.
Okay.
And he signaled to me a month early that he was coming out because I went into preterm labor.
Gotcha.
So then that happened. He comes out of the hospital and my husband left so it was just kind of like, here we are.
Okay. And how long was he gone for that time frame?
3 months, and then we
Wow.
had to pack up all of our stuff, move back across country. We lived in San Diego, and he had to take hot filled orders. So pretty much in a nutshell, like he had to take these orders to stay competitive, which is
Hmm.
like very competitive after you get like the department head class is like the steepest learning curve in the whole Navy career, and you have to learn a lot in a little time. And you're also ranked amongst your peers to move up. So it's really competitive. And I met him at this time where it was just his career.
Hmm.
And then I came along and I had no idea what the military life was like. Zero point
Yeah.
zero. So now I'm here. He's like, okay, you got to pack up the whole house. Meet me over here. We're going to live in Virginia Beach. And then he left again. So he did workups. So workups are like you're in and you're out. There's no
Mhm.
consistency. There's like they're doing drills and all this other stuff.
Mhm.
And I was like, I don't even know what just happened. I think we just almost lost our son. I don't know how to unpack this. I can't unpack this with you. And I'm just kind of here on this island
Right.
again. But now I have a baby and I
Yes,
it's out.
correct.
So I stopped everything. I stopped working. And in this, midst of all this stuff, I gained a bunch of weight. I used to be a competitor. So I was like, oh, I'll just go back to that lifestyle.
Hmm.
Wrong. Um, my son didn't like the gym.
Oh,
So yeah, he didn't like to, he had separation anxiety. He would just beat his head against the wall at the nursery. And every 5 minutes, they're like, hey, you got to come get him. And I'm
right,
like, so part of my identity was like, oh, now we're stripped again. How are we going to rebuild ourselves? And it was like, postpartum depression and all this other stuff. And I used to go to every single story time at the libraries just so I get myself out of the house,
right. Yeah.
just so he can have, you know, we were library connoisseurs. So
Free community. How do we get free community?
I would go to the parks. So I just started working out at parks. I worked out on park benches. I had 4 pieces of equipment. I started documenting everything. I worked out on playgrounds. I did everything for a whole year and just documented. I was like, if I'm stuck in the suck right now, I cannot be the only one stuck in the suck.
Right.
Maybe I can make something so I can get people unstuck,
Hmm.
right? And then I was like, wow, no one's going to pay attention to me. I'm just this, washed up competitor, phys ed wannabe teacher, and, all those storylines you tell yourself of why you can't be something.
Yeah.
And I sat on it and I was like, fine. And Anthony's like, just start promoting this on, Instagram and da da da. I was like, no one's going to take me seriously, all this other stuff. So then that was 2019. So 2020 happened. He came back from deployment and then left again because he was in going into early command. So he left again. So he's home for like, I don't know, 3 weeks and then left.
Mhm.
And I was like, all right, well, how am I going to navigate this? And then COVID happened
Right.
and we were supposed to be moving overseas to Bahrain. The State Department wouldn't release our passports.
Mm.
So I thought it was going to be another 2 years we weren't going to see each other. And
Wow.
now I have a baby that doesn't even know his dad,
Yeah.
right? He was already on the mission. He's like, I gotta go. I'm sorry. I don't know what's gonna happen, but I need to leave. I was like, okay.
Okay.
So I went back to New York, and this was like already our fourth or fifth move. I went back to New York to stay with my parents for a bit. He went to Bahrain. They released our passports. I got there, and it was like I landed, and it was like I had been there before. It was the strangest feeling I know. It was wild. You're like coming in and it looks like a scene from Star Wars. Everything's white and beige. That's
Okay.
it.
Okay.
Sand everywhere, right? And you're just like, I'm not in Kansas anymore. Where are we? It's the middle of COVID too. So there's a lot of like unknown things
Right.
going on. And I landed and I was like, wow, like we lived in a tropical island. Like there was Bahrain and Amwaj were like man-made islands. And on the islands, it was the Caribbean. So
Oh,
it's two different, yeah, you would never think. Like that's actually Bahrain right there.
how beautiful.
You would never think, you know?
No,
So
desert doesn't come to mind. No.
no, desert, someone's gonna ring the doorbell. What is going on today?
Wait, wait. You go get it if you need to.
I think it's a solicitor. So
Okay.
I'm just keep talking. um,
Okay.
so we got there and all of a sudden I was just like, COVID hit, everybody's at home, no one's going to the gym. And I said, I'm just gonna launch this. I've been COVID training for 2 years now. I've
Mm.
been in this program. Like, this is a perfect opportunity.
Yeah.
Launched across the world in the Middle East. Fire.
What do you
Just
mean fire? What
like
happened?
fire means like the business took off.
Hmm.
Because I had a plan before I knew it was coming.
Okay.
So I had all the programs, how to train at home, how to cook at home with your kids, how to exercise with little equipment,
Hmm.
like how to do all of these things. And I had already like made this plan without even knowing how I was going to execute this plan. And
Hmm.
then COVID happened, and it was the best thing that ever happened to my business.
When you executed the plan, what does execute look like? How did you launch? What did you do?
Yeah. It was group coaching. So it was pretty much I had customized fitness plans, customized nutrition plans. We did community workouts, and you just pretty much went through it together. And you did this wherever you were. So it was remote. So there was no excuse to, I can't have access to yada, yada, yada. I don't have time. It kind of just was able to just strip those um, excuses, if you will. Sometimes it's realistic, but excuses and just show up and do it. But now you're not doing it alone. You're doing it with other women.
Yeah. Were you doing Zoom or how were
Uh,
they doing the community?
Everything was through Zoom
Uh,
on the other side of the world.
on the other side of the world. But nobody knew you, Christine, before you started this. So when you launched and it took off, what did you do so that people actually found out who you were and what you had to offer?
Instagram.
Videos, reels,
Video.
lives, what?
The thing was, Reels wasn't a thing yet, and because I was in Bahrain, I wasn't able to access the US what they had to offer because I was in Bahrain, and that things are like a little bit more locked down there.
Okay.
So I didn't participate in the Reels, so I wasn't part of that thing. But I had a following of about 20K people
Mhm.
before I got to Bahrain. So I just started just promoting it. And I got a business coach. Her name's Marina Middleton. And this is when she also first started doing it. So it was like a lot of firsts for people.
Mhm.
And I had the challenge of making it successful. So I also had help there. I had this amazing nanny. Her name's Manisha. She was incredible. And it took off. And then I got pregnant. And
How long between it took off and you got pregnant?
like a month.
Okay. We get a little taste of success and then we get pregnant. Okay.
Yeah.
The pregnancy we're excited about, but just unexpected.
Wasn't expected. I was trying to plan it out a certain way where we were going to start trying again. And also my son he's very strong-willed. He was a lot.
Okay.
And I was like, I think I'm all right with having one. I think we're good. I think
You've
we are
cured
okay.
me.
Yeah, we are okay. We got that itch. We scratched it. We're done. Right. And then I had this dream um, a week before I knew I was pregnant that I was going to have a girl with bright blue eyes.
Does she have bright blue eyes?
She does.
She does. We love how the Lord will give us little peep at
Little
times.
Pete. And then I freaked out because I'm like, oh my God, I can't have a girl. I'm going to totally mess her up. No way. No way. We are having a girl. No.
And
And
you're
then
like,
I said, no, this is what we need. We need to have a girl because we need to stop breaking these generational, cultural stereotypes, social, whatever. We need to break the cycle. And you worked for this, you got prepared, you know what it's like. So I took things that I had learned, good and bad, and said, this is how I want to parent her. And I never want her to feel like she is incapable. I never want her to feel that she is not beautiful. I never want her to feel, like she's not smart or she's less than. And that's kind of, how I did it. Like we don't talk about body parts in our house. We don't say we're fat, thin, I think we say we're capable and strong. That's it.
that's it. And you
That's it.
reaffirm it. Well, you
Yeah.
learned that from, I'm sure, the years of work that you had to do coming out of anorexia
Yep.
and deciding to make a change in your life
Yep.
that way. Because even your commitment to God to say, if you allow me one more chance, I will help others, is including your daughter. I mean, is including your children.
Yeah. And doctors told me I wasn't going to be able to have kids because of the abuse that I put myself through, competing, garbage, hormones. Like they're like, there's no way you're going to be fertile, you know? And I just didn't believe it to be true. So I went back to school to study about nutrition to heal, how to heal your body through somatic exercises and all this other stuff, and kind of like give my body not like it was 9 months and I got pregnant on the first try.
What was 9 months?
I had 9 months of healing my body after competing. And
Okay.
then I got pregnant with my son on the first try. So,
Amazing.
and I
First try as in, did you all do any fertility? No, just okay, just
tried just kind of like, because I was like, oh, I have this down to a T. So we're going by time, we're going by my temperature. We're like
okay. You for real did some deep dive study
deep
on.
dive study. Yep, nutrition to heal, get my hormones back, and all the years I put my body through the abuse, your body is resilient. And when you put in the work to heal, it happens. And I didn't believe these doctors. I knew I was supposed to be a mom in some way, shape, or form, and I knew I can do it. And when people tell me I can't, that's when I know I can.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, so just a quick sidebar here.
Yeah,
What's one or two things that people don't commonly know about healing their body through, you said somatic exercise and through nutrition. So one,
yes.
explain what somatic exercise is, and then tell us like one or two things about the nutrition that people probably don't know that can help them heal.
Yeah, so somatic exercises are really, so you have two types of, to put it very simply, your nervous system, right? So you have your sympathetic and your parasympathetic. And people that are in drive all the time, we like to be in our sympathetic nervous system. We are executors, we are doers. We think that resting is not productive. We like to be in drive, but we go over. Yeah, I know. I'm not on my soapbox.
Okay.
I'm here with the crowd.
Okay.
So
We are together.
we
Yes.
are together.
Okay.
Yeah. And I still have to do it because recovery's not an outcome, it's a journey.
Mhm.
So every day you have to keep putting in the work and remind yourself of what the work is, right? And you're going to be tested. So somatic work is about releasing that pent up stress energy. 80% of women, I mean, 80% of people that have autoimmune diseases, I mean, some people don't believe in that, but 80% are women.
Really? Okay.
And most of them have some kind of trauma or they have a type A personality.
Interesting. Okay.
Most people with type A personalities have their cardiovascular system isn't as great. They don't do well with stress. They hide their stress, right? And they think that pushing through and exhaustion is a badge of honor. And they also don't realize all of the things that are dormant in your body, right? So let's just say you had a gene passed down that can be like Hashimoto's or something like that, an autoimmune disease. Stress makes that bubble up to the top.
Mm.
It's like a pressure cooker, right? But you can't put it back in. So now you do the somatic work to start healing. A lot of it's breathing, a lot of it's energy healing, a lot of it's I think it's prayer, meditation, whatever kind of being higher. I don't like to shove my religion down people's throats. I do believe that there's a God and there's a Jesus, but whatever you believe, whatever that higher power is, that will help you heal, right?
Okay.
Because I do believe that the work I do is not just a business. I want to do it because it's a service outside of me. It's a mission that's bigger than me,
Mhm. Yeah.
right? Um, So sometimes I do struggle with like, oh gosh, it is a business, but I should really be helping people. But that doesn't mean there's, you know what
You
I'm saying?
gotta make money and people pay to pay attention. Christine, if people did not pay you for what you did, they would not pay attention. So yes, you need to have a business to share the
Yeah.
knowledge that you spent time investing and getting. So that's
Yep.
somatic. Then what's the
Yes.
other one?
So parasympathetic. So we have your sympathetic,
Sympathetic.
parasympathetic,
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay.
And the parasympathetic is also called your rest and digest, right? So you have this thing called the HPA axis. So it's a hypothalamic pituitary adrenal axis. Fancy word, right? So
Yeah.
it's pretty much your brain and gut and your adrenals all connected. That's like your governor. And then
Mhm.
you have your HPG axis, which is your gonadal, which is attached to your your sex hormones. And then you have your HPT, which is attached to that's attached to your thyroid. So this affects these,
Okay.
right? And it's like this triangular loop. When the HPA axis is dysregulated, lots more gets dysregulated with this, right?
Mhm.
Early perimenopause. You
Mm.
have endocrine disruptors. That's a new buzzword. So, endocrine disruptor is your environment that are environmental things that are disrupting your endocrine system, your hormones, right? That could be plastic. That could be BPA on your receipt paper. I know. I let my kids dance around with that all the time. Now I'm like, what? Don't touch it, you know? So
Yeah.
yeah, like so many things are in plastic.
Hmm.
Everything
Yeah.
is in,
Yeah.
right? Your perfume, the makeup you put on, your lotion, like all of these things have, depending on what it is, these endocrine disruptors that disrupt things going on in your body and can make your hormones out of flux. And where you're going into when you're going into menopause, it can last, but your hormones are already shifting, and these make have the bigger swings. I'm going to be 44 in June. I'm in this transition too,
Okay. Yeah.
with
Gotcha.
everything. We're just in a
Mhm.
big,
Yeah, you're going through a whole thing,
and I'm like,
learning a lot.
control, control. What can I control?
But as you said, one of the things that you know you can control is what you eat and then how you treat and handle your body. And
Yeah.
so the parasympathetic, so then there's nutrition and all this stuff that
Yes. Rest and digest.
rest
Right.
and
So how it's the habits, right? 43% of the things you do every day are your habits, not decisions you make,
oh, I thought
right?
it was much higher. So that's nice to know it's less. Okay. Because I've heard it was like 80%. I was like, I'm just running on autopilot. What is this? I need to
Yeah.
change
I
my
mean,
habit.
like it all influences each other, but our habits are really what are going to make or break us. And it's how you eat your food. Do you eat your food when you're working? Do you eat your food when you're stressed out? Do you eat your food on the go? Do you like because your body, your brain is your gut is your second brain.
Hmm.
So if you're stressed out, your gut's stressed out, everything slows down, you don't digest your food the right way. This also can have a spike in your blood sugar. I'm a huge advocate for balancing your blood sugar. This has been a game changer after having my children.
Hmm.
My nutrition, like you don't want your blood sugar going like this all day. It's going to go and fall when you have carbohydrates, but how can you balance it, right?
Right.
So you have a protein and fiber and fat before you have your carbs. Make sure you have protein in the beginning of the morning because that slows down the absorption of your blood sugar. You become insulin resistant when your estrogen also shifts. So there's everything's all connected from what? The HPA axis.
How did you have time to learn all of this? When did you study?
I just consume information. It would just be like I would read something and my brain is like a Christmas tree. And I'm like, this is just fascinating. But how can I apply this? But how can I help other people apply this too?
Hmm.
And
Right.
it's not sometimes you get lost in the science, right? I'm like, whoa, that is a big word. I don't even know what that is, but I got lost, right? Well, what if I told you that it's how you eat your food, the way you eat your food, what kind of food, as opposed to telling you like the thing it is called. Like I have the language to help you apply it to your life.
Right.
That's sticky stuff.
Hmm. Yeah.
Other stuff is like boop, bounced off, data dump. You know,
Correct. Right. Yeah. I feel good because I read it. I can say it. Somebody will think I'm smart, but it doesn't, if I can't apply it, it doesn't have any value. Yeah.
data dump. Yeah, and a lot of it also has to do with your sleep. Everything has to do with sleep. Sleep is king. It is getting a little bit more love these days, but it regulates all your hormones.
How
Most
many
of,
hours?
yeah. Well, I think it's more about the quality of sleep than
Okay.
the hour, right?
Okay.
You can have 8 hours of sleep, but if you're getting up 15 times a night, you're not hitting certain cycles. You have your REM and then you have your deep sleep, right? Even for men. So men, their hormones go in a circadian rhythm of 24 hours, right? So their stuff regenerates at like 4 o'clock in the morning.
Okay.
And us, we're on like a 28-day cycle. We're just dynamic folks, you know?
God just made us different.
They
Just
made us different. Growing up, how many times have you heard anything about your menstrual cycle that was good? It makes you bloated. It makes you cranky. It makes you feel disgusting. Like even now, it took me till I was like almost 40 to learn about cycle syncing, right? So you
hmm.
could cycle sync your workouts, your nutrition, so that you have a better cyclic cycle. You can even cycle sync your business, right? And it's not about a method to follow because everybody's different.
Hmm.
It's more about awareness. I know for me, 3 days before I menstruate, I am really cranky. I am irritable. I stress out more. And I generally don't want to talk to a lot of people.
Fair enough. Okay.
So if I know that's coming and I get to kind of pick my important meetings,
Hmm.
I'm not putting them those 3 days.
That makes sense.
So it's like energy conservation as opposed to this is a method to follow. Like
Hmm.
this, like the new buzzword is cycle syncing. And this is, it's been going around since like 2015, right?
Yeah.
And it's fascinating stuff because why weren't we taught this when we were 15, 11, 12 years old about cycle syncing and how it can benefit us? I did a study with a DPT. He works with D1 athletes. Can I tell you, 80% of the injuries happened in the late luteal phase. Why? Because our body stresses. 80%. That's not a coincidence.
Gotcha. And what stage is it called?
Late luteal. So it's about 3 to 4 days before your menstrual cycle. That's when
Wow.
there's a huge shift in hormones. Your body's temperature goes up like, I don't know, a quarter to a half a degree to some people, which is like, oh, well, your body temperature, it's not a big deal, but you're burning more throughout that time. So
Mhm.
if you're not giving yourself more energy, because energy and calories are the same thing, right?
Yeah.
Not all energy is created equal. But if you're not giving yourself, if you're dieting too hard, not sleeping, and not giving yourself energy, you're going to have cravings in your menstrual cycle. Our body's smart.
Gotcha. All of these things they just point to the fact of how well educated you are to be able to help your clients. And it's been a lifelong journey, right? Because just starting from having
Yes.
anorexia and then mastering that and then choosing that you wanted to do real well and right by your body, went into body competition, wait,
Which was like that was
bodybuilding
like the lion's
competition.
den though, because I was being judged on my body and I
Mm,
didn't have control over what the judges would say.
true.
So it
Yeah.
was a complete lion's den of like
But it was
going back.
still learning. You were still
Oh, it was a ton of learning. It was
a
a ton of
ton
learning.
of learning, right? And then you've just continued to evolve with your learning, and now you've just amassed and continue to amass, I'm sure, so much information that's able to help your clients. But Christine, we haven't even told people what your clients are and what you do.
Oh, yeah. So I am a health and fitness coach for high performing women. And I also work with corporate and startups now as a fractional chief health and wellness officer. That's new.
Which that's new, and congrats. How is that going?
It's it's good. It's in this beginning stages of getting to know people, making the right contacts. So I was on a podcast. I'm telling you, like the power in LinkedIn is incredible. I've only been on this platform for about a little over a year, and I had like three connections, including my husband. When I started, he made me an account in 2021. I refused to use it. I'm like, no one's going to take me seriously. I'm an Instagram girl. They're gonna be like, here's who's this influencer China person coming in here? Like, I don't have a seat at this table. No one's gonna listen to me. All this stupid chatter, right? And then I feel like on Instagram, I was kind of outgrowing the platform. I was getting real frustrated doing the Elaine Bennis in front of that
Right?
the
Yeah, let me dance a little
video,
bit to get a little
trying
attention.
trying to get people to stop scrolling, but like I felt like I wasn't no one reads the caption. I'm spending all this time on captions and lives. I mean, hours and hours a day and chasing people to work with me. I'm like this little Nemo in this huge ocean,
Yeah.
right? Everybody's a fitness person on Instagram, or, and it's without a whole lot of credentials and experience. And now I have to kind of like, I have to be the mom with abs and like all of these things that they were my old storylines that I had to keep
Mhm.
fighting,
Yeah.
you know? Um, so finally I was just like, I'm just gonna do it. I have like people, I have a 30K following on Instagram, which is like small bones compared to these other people. Whatever. I have people there. I need to start something new.
Yeah.
And now I have 10 years of content that no one's ever seen on LinkedIn. So
Yeah.
hopped on LinkedIn, boom, took off.
Mm.
And went
Yeah.
from, and this is a total vanity metrics, but it went from like 3 connections to over 27K with 4 million impressions.
Amazing. And so you were talking about a podcast that you were just on that came from the connections.
Came from that connection, right? She's like, what are you doing on LinkedIn? I'm also not a dime a dozen on LinkedIn. Like, there's not, it's a male dominated platform,
Yeah.
but you bet your bottom dollar, there are high performing females there,
Hmm.
and they're probably not taking care of their health.
Yep. From all of
So,
the things that you said that we do.
so I was like, I just needed to change the language from Instagram to LinkedIn because it's
Hmm.
not the same platform at all. So
Yeah.
she's like, I want Jessie Lazek, that's her name. She has an amazing marketing firm. She has this, it's called Riveting podcast. She's like, she messaged me, DM me. She's like, I love everything you're doing. I don't even know how you're doing it, but tell me your secrets and I want you to be on my podcast. I was like, yeah, let's do it. Right. So I get on this podcast with this man named David Gray,
Hmm.
multi-million dollar business owner. He helps startups and investors, angel investors of like an idea. There's an 80% turnaway rate. And like this guy is like awesome. Right. So then I'm like, the old storyline, podcast with this.
Mm. Why am I here? What is this? Yeah.
What do I have to bring to this table?
Hmm.
I have a breadcrumb. Anybody like breadcrumbs? Right. No, doesn't balance your blood sugar. I have an apple. Anybody like apple? Like,
That's what I bring. Oh,
so then I was like, whatever. I know what I'm talking about. And guess what? Health and fitness are not a personal hobby, it's a professional advantage. So I'm going to show people how this is a professional advantage. I'm going to bring my A game because I know what I'm talking about. I know what I can bring to the table. And it doesn't matter what profession you're in, we can make health and wellness part of it because it's the foundation of life. So I just was like, put on my power pony again,
well,
cha-cha, handled some cha-cha energy with my power pose, showed up,
yeah.
went on and on. At the end of the thing, he was just like, I love everything you're about. How do I make you my fractional chief health and wellness officer at the end of the podcast?
Look at that.
I don't even know what that is, but I'm going to make it a thing. And it's going to be
There.
the best thing you ever saw, right? So I started researching, and apparently, chief health and wellness officers had becoming very up and rising in the COVID era
Okay.
because of the mental, there's so like anorexia is starting at 11 years old. Um, it's astounding like how eating disorders are happening, mental illness, autism, all of this stuff. Like autism is another story for another day, but you know, all of these things that are arising in the workplace. And guess what? If you're a woman and you're trying to climb up that ladder, it's stressful.
Hmm.
It's like there aren't a lot of women at the top of that ladder,
Yeah.
right? So, but I also work with men too. So I work also with tactical athletes. So it's military, fire, and police. So I work with a company called O2X. I go in as like a health and wellness instructor and I help facilitate their workshops. So I've been doing that for the last 2 years too. So I work with different genres of people.
Yeah.
I know the military life, so that worked out.
You got the ability to have a number of irons in different fires because of the work that you've done for yourself, as well as one thing that you said, Christine, that I want to make sure you guys listening heard was when you were in that midst of those 18 months or 2 years that you were working on your own, tracking everything that you did, writing it down, you're a planner. So then when your husband was like, stop acting like you can't do this and just launch it, you had everything ready. So not only have you taken the experiences that you've had, but you've tracked them, you've written them down, and then you're a planner, you put them together so that what is the saying? Preparation meets opportunity, it equals luck. Like I'm not a believer in luck, but the saying makes sense, right? And that's exactly what you've done. And so this situation is a prime example where you're on a podcast with somebody thinking you don't belong and they end up offering you a job. So you've got oars in so many different areas and so many different avenues that you've built your business. I mean, I could ask so many questions because when we first met, like you,
Oh,
as you talked about, like you started LinkedIn and you quit LinkedIn, and LinkedIn is now your primary source for your business leads and growing your business. You have done a number of businesses that you started and stopped, failed, had some success, restart, right? And started. And so we can go into all of those, but because we've got to wrap up, I'm going to one say I'm just going to have to bring you back on for a second
oh,
episode
absolutely.
whenever
Absolutely.
you get settled. And we'll
Yeah.
talk more in depth for business because this was really good to get an understanding of your health and wellness knowledge, right? Just from your personal story and just the few nuggets that you dropped of brilliant information about somatic and sympathetic and parasympathetic. Did I say them right?
Got it.
I
You
got
got it, Jack.
it. Now I'm
You
like, I
got it.
need to go do some
Yep.
research. And so just to
Yeah.
know that when you hear somebody like you who's done the work, educated yourself, and so you're a true expert. Not like you said, there were a lot of people on Instagram who maybe had some
No
credentials,
shame.
maybe
Yeah, I
didn't.
can't,
It's just,
you
it
know
is
what I mean?
what it is, right?
Yeah, it is what
But
it is. Yeah.
you have shown you've done the work, put in the work, that you're a true expert who can then speak on. These are the myriad of different ways to help individuals, and you've been able to apply that to building your business, which is because we talk about how do you build a business better here. When you have that many skill sets that you can put into different avenues, that's how you build a business that's sustainable. Because something may dry up for a time, but if you've got other areas that you can plug that in, CHMO. Did I say that?
Yeah.
CHMO.
Yep.
Yeah.
CHW. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, right. And
Yep.
then
Yep.
coaching
Yeah.
and group, all the things you're doing, that is what sets people up to create sustainable business. So before we have to wrap up, and
Yeah.
then I'll extend, y'all, I'll bring her back. She's going to come back. She shook her head, yes,
I have so much to say. That's what it is, right? Like,
which I
you
love.
yeah.
But I will ask this last quick question, Christine, for entrepreneurs who are listening who have just heard your story of you having to build as as a single mom in physicality, right? You're married, have a husband, you love y'all's relationship that I get to see on LinkedIn, but single mom going through all the changes, um, frustration with one platform to another, all the things. What is one piece of encouragement that you would give to those who are listening about continuing to build their business?
Hone in on your skills, right? And also your personality. I don't give up. You could ask my husband. He met me 3 times and turned me down, and I am just persistent, right? So
Wait, he turns you down?
he turned me down. Yeah.
Whole other story.
Whole other story,
Okay.
right? Um, I had to flip my audience, my people. I've lost my business probably 4 times over. And a lot of sacrifice came because I needed to raise my family and my business wasn't the priority. And I was in the weeds, right? So in those moments where you're thinking like I can't, impossible, and it sounds so cliche, you are possible and you can. So take that skill set and start doing your research and figure out where else you can plug and play. Because if you have that grit, if you have the resilience to keep on going in a way where your health isn't impacted, because you will, buzzword burnout, just know you have what it takes to be at that table. You are special, you are unique, and it doesn't matter how many times you fall down, you fail forward. You get back up, you learn from what happened, and figure out how you can do it better the next time, right? And scale it. I cannot scale a business on one-on-ones. I love my people, I love my one-on-ones, but I can't. So, group coaching and the fractional work, that's how you scale it. Now
Yeah.
I'm going into retreats too. So I know I'm tr
Oh, so many
so,
options, so many opportunities for you.
so many
Yeah.
options, and health and wellness, that is the foundation of your life,
Yeah.
right? Without that, we have nothing. Think of it as your premium insurance plan and your daily savings account that you get to dip into every single day. Keep making those deposits because that ROI is the highest you'll ever have on top of any kind of money you will make.
I don't
And when
think
you
you,
realize that,
go ahead.
when you realize that how special you are and what you have to give and how you can offer and how you could really touch people, especially as a coach, like you get in the nitty gritty, you help people work through roadblocks together, right? You get to help them transform their life. You are the catalyst for their why they're going the way they're going.
Yeah.
And when you harness that, nothing's going to stop you.
Yeah. I love your grit. We will talk more about it on the next
Yes.
time I have you back.